Hello, happy Wednesday morning, Mr. Daniel Strauss. How are you?
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm very good. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for joining me today. And we're going to throw around a couple of ideas, and I look forward to hearing from you. I know you have a very interesting life, and let's see if we can just delve a little bit deeper. You're the gentleman's gentleman with a flair for business. So I think I'm going to enjoy this. Okay, so the topic of today, so I'm Adi Kaimowitz. I have a business called Virtual Actuary. Daniel, your business is called?
Stocks and Strauss.
Very nice indeed. Okay, so we're not specifically talking about business strategy at all. The topic is when I wake up in the morning, this is what I try to achieve for the day. Okay, so these are things you tell yourself when no one else is around. Okay, number one, vision. Okay, so point A, we're looking at the vision itself, looking into the future. Okay, and I'll give my take on that. And the second thing is, what created the person who has the vision? So my take is, the vision is, I'm a business person. We have an actuary consulting business. I'm aiming towards actuaries consulting from home in virtual reality. That's the vision. That's what I'm aiming for. There's a lot to say there. And then what created the person who has the vision? Well, I always liked TV games. I always liked business. I always liked digitization. So for me, that's kind of the wave that brought me to this point where it was about business and technology. Okay. So my question to you is, what is your vision of what you're aiming for, and what brought you to this point, if I may ask?
Yes, I grew up in a very small town in the Northern Cape. And the one thing that I always yearned for was opportunities. So because I grew up in a small town, I always saw the children in the big schools who had certain opportunities that we didn't in the small schools. So I think that's why I relentlessly chase opportunities now, and I want to make the most of them because I never had that opportunity before. And that's why I always try to help other entrepreneurs as much as possible through our venture capital businesses to achieve their full potential, because I know that by definition a startup doesn't have all the resources required. So they also don't have all the opportunities. And how can I use my network or the capital that we have access to, or a few other things to to help these people to reach their full potential and their goals? So I had a mentor who once asked me, so how do you become a billionaire? And he said, create a lot of millionaires.
Beautiful. I think the Millionaires Club. Firstly, the story is lovely. Okay. I think that the Millionaires Club is, these days, if you don't have debt, you're a millionaire. Okay. Point number two, discipline. What have you cut out of your life? So that is sacrifice versus reward. And then the second thing is, what barriers have you put up to stop other people from, what things have you put up to shield you from the world that might bring you down? I've got an example here. Greedy people who didn't want to join my business initially. I picked up, I said, we're a collaborative, we're an organized collaborative, a consortium of actuaries. Come join us, we'll go together, we'll build, we'll grow. And then they said, I'm okay, I'm doing brilliantly by myself. I don't want to grow together with you. Okay. But now when their workers tape it off, so I picked up greed there. So, I said, let's share. We can all do well together. But now that things aren't going so well for them, now they want to join us when we're doing well. Oh, but hold on a second. We could have shared initially. So my barrier is, it is a barrier of principle. The principle is I don't like to associate with greedy people. It's a barrier, So what have you, and then what have I cut out of my life? Well, partying, socializing late at night, living for the night. Now I live for the day. Sports, good endorphins. So I've cut out all the fluff, all the hectic braais, lots of drinking. I cut that out of my life years ago, 11, 12 years ago. And so, that is the sacrifice and now the reward. So what have you cut out of your life, and potentially what barriers have you put up?
Yes, so I think the first thing that I cut out was negativity. That was very important to me because, they say that success is not to be pursued, it's to be attracted by the person you become. So it's very difficult to grow in a negative environment. And then when you talk about barriers, well, I was in this strange position where my girlfriend then, won one or two big competitions, and she became quite famous in certain circles. So we automatically created these barriers, which initially was a bit difficult because for me, I choose to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. So I will trust you completely until you prove me wrong. I know it's a bit more risky, but a lot of people have this approach like they will distrust everyone and then someone must prove their trust to them. I say, no, I believe that people are fundamentally good, so let them in and then I'll get them out. I have been burned a few times because of that, but I also believe that a few times it worked out very well because just due to our type of business, which is venture capital and private equity investment, I have to look at everything because those diamonds are somewhere out there and we're looking to find those diamonds. And sometimes someone can look greedy on the first meeting just because they were burned recently and they still may have a cognitive bias due to their previous experiences, but fundamentally they are good people. And this is so there's that. My wife always says that the maximum growth happens on the border of support and challenge. So you must be sure about that support system, but also challenge yourself constantly to ensure that we grow and then also grow in our relationships with others.
Very nice. Very, very nice. See, I'm also learning. Maybe I should give that person another chance. We'll see. I don't think I will. Okay. Number 3. I want to talk about next level. Okay. And I'll give you an example. About 2 years ago, we were having a water crisis in Cape Town. And it just so happened I was invited to someone's house in Clifton. They were introduced to the business. They wanted to talk about the business that we had just started at that stage. And I walked in. I never go into these houses in Clifton. It's like it burns your eyes. It's as simple as that. Okay. So I went in. I was obviously overly impressed, and I remember seeing massive water JoJo cans. Those massive water cans, thousands of liters at the top of the property. I remember thinking, this person has no problem with water. I mean, here I am, we got a water crisis. I don't know what we're going to do. Not only has this guy got an amazing house, but he has more water than he can handle. And it just so happened on that particular day, they were delivering solar panels. I thought, that is next level stuff. With load shedding and everything, who would have thought that these houses not only have amazing luxury and comfort, but electricity, their own electricity. That is next level. Like, I want to be the person that has my own solar panels. That for me, that's success, self-reliance. So what happened in December last year? I kitted my entire house out with a full solar system. We're completely off the grid, totally self-sufficient, next level. So for me, it was that inspiration of, this is what next level means, and I aim towards that. So for you, is there anything that stands out that has maybe shone a light on what it means to be next level?
Well, I think within my frame of reference, all the people who I consider to be next level are the people who help other people to reach their full potential. And I had a mentor who taught me a few concepts, let's call it trade secrets. And if you give these 3 or 4 tools and concepts to people and to entrepreneurs, you increase their probability of reaching their full potential significantly, actually exponentially. So to a certain degree, it's all about probabilities. We must reduce the risk and we must increase the probability of success. I mean, you know more about probabilities than I ever will, but that's constantly what I'm working towards, is aiming to help other people to reach their full potential, because the people that I look up to, that is what they spend their time doing, and that is how they reached their success. I don't know if that answers your question.
Definitely, definitely. It's very, very nice. Having the mentors. I struggle to find mentors, or even a mentor, to be quite honest. Um, I've had one or two along the way, and you know, it's tricky for me, to be quite honest. I want the answer that they give me to be mind blowing. you know, and so from a
I think in
mentor
my
perspective.
experience, sorry, Adi, in my experience, the best mentors don't give the best answers. The best mentors ask the best questions. And that was my experience so far. So the guys would ask me questions, and then as we unpack the answer to the question, they guide me along the way, and that's where I get the realization or the light bulb moment.
Nice. Okay, motivation. Number 4, motivation. What scares you? Because we talk about staying hungry. Okay, and do you know what it means to be starving? For me, I've also had like an interesting life, in my opinion. I used to be a DJ, and I've worked in different companies, and some people think I'm boring, although a few years ago I went on a crusade to be a nerd. Well, that was my crusade, was to be a nerd. Like, if I could be a nerd, then I could get my life back in order. Okay. So, but in like 2016, it was my 20-year reunion for my school. We finished 96. And one of my biggest fears is not having money to pay the rent, to pay for anything. And it just so happened at that stage I'd been running my old business for many years, but I went through a very hectic downturn, and LinkedIn, and I didn't make 1 cent for 6 months, and I was working flat out. Just every month that rolled over, there was no deals. So I went through a moment. It just so happened there was a 20-year reunion, and my greatest fears came true. I had no money, nothing to talk about. In my opinion, I had gone down the wrong road. I was a failure, So I didn't go to the reunion because I couldn't face up to talking to the people. Inevitably, the question would be asked, "What are you up to?" So my point is that was my greatest fear. So for me, I carry a lot of that kind of stuff now in what I do to make sure that I work till 12 o'clock at night, and I make sure that when things are going well, I work even harder. So for me, that scares me, is not having money. So if I may ask, what motivates you? What scares you?
So one of your questions was, did I ever starve? Well, never due to poverty. Yes, we went to the farm and we didn't take enough food with us. So yes, we didn't have enough to eat, but I always had a support system and a very supportive family. So I'm extremely grateful for that. We never had much, but we never starved of hunger. So I think in my frame of reference, the thing that scares me most is that I become extremely successful and I don't know how I got there. Because I know of a few entrepreneurs who have built one business, and in my view, they were lucky to a certain extent. Just the right legislation changes came about, and the big guy went out of business, and something just happened and they made millions. And in my view, they won't be able to do that again. And it doesn't bother them because they have the money now. To me, something like that would really bother me if I could only do it once and I wouldn't be able to do it again if I had to. So that scares me. Is I don't want to be successful because of luck. I want to be successful because of a system that I created that can be replicated, and that can be replicated by a lot of people. So that is how we're going to grow the economy.
Amazing. Lovely. Okay. Number 5. You got an A plus on that one. Okay. Number 5. To find inspiration, you need to put challenges in front of yourself. Okay. What are some of your current challenges? I mean, I've got my challenges and I'll go into them, but please feel free.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little story first, and then I'm going to tell you about my challenges. So I had a mentor, and I went to him and I said to him, listen, yeah, it feels like I'm having more difficulty in my life than other people I know. I have more challenges in my life than other people I know. And he said to me, well, if you take a car and you drive down the road at 60 kilometers an hour, how many obstacles will you face in a day? If you take that same car and you drive at 200 kilometers an hour, how many obstacles will you face? So automatically, if you try to do more things and you try to move faster, you will get more challenges, but you will also learn to overcome them because you'll get more exercise in overcoming challenges. So now I don't see them in such a negative way anymore. I see them as positive challenges. So then I see entrepreneurship, and especially in business, as there's essentially 3 levels of entrepreneurs. The first one is product focused. Then the second one is system focused. And then the third one is what I call thinking above the line. They're at the point where we turn the systems and the products that we focused on before into financial products. So that's the 3 levels of entrepreneurs. So in every one of those levels, there are different challenges. So at the moment, what I'm really spending a lot of time on is, let's say, compliance. Because the more capital you get and have available, the more systems you have to put in place to ensure that you're always in compliance. And I'm extremely pedantic with these things. So my challenge is not that we do not comply. My challenge is how can I more than comply to ensure that those systems um, work seamlessly. And that's what I'm spending a lot of business time on at the moment.
And what's quite amazing is that the different areas of the business are a full-time job. The legal documentation and the contracts and all that stuff, full-time job. The marketing and the branding and a full-time job. The expansion and the are we going to do better this year than we did last year? How are we reinventing us? A full-time job. The admin, are we paying people correctly? Are we making mistakes and are we not making mistakes? Did we put one too many digits in there? So there's a lot of challenges. We operate as a lean business. So what that means is, I try to do a lot myself. And what's quite nice is we're a collaborative, we're a consortium. I deal with the admin side of the business, and the actuaries deal with the actuarial side of the business. It's a wonderful fusion, and so so some of them also do the job of five people. They're also earning five times as much as everybody else, and I do on the admin side five times as much as most people, and then we get rewarded accordingly. So our challenges at the moment are expansion, globalization, trying to work out where to um, spend a bit of money so that we can do so, keeping COVID-19 in mind. You don't want to get caught having spread yourself too thin. We're still self-funded at the moment. We've jumped over quite a few hoops of raising and not done the raising. My whole thing is, what will an investor at that stage ask you to achieve if they come in, and then go do that, and then come back to them and say, okay, I've done that. Okay, I've done that. If you came in now, what would you want us to achieve? Like, if you came in now, what would you hope would be a success? And so I'll do that. Well, then we go do that. So that's where we are. It's challenging. It's very challenging. And then there's the exercise. You look like you exercise. You.
Yeah, so not as much as I should, but I enjoy. The thing is, we live in this wonderful environment. It's an estate where there's mountain bike trails, there's tennis courts, there's squash courts, there's uh, trails to walk. So it's a very nice environment that's conducive to exercise. And we have this little WhatsApp group of about 20 guys in the estate. And every day they say, well, we're going to do this. And then you can either join them or not. So it's a very nice environment where it's social exercise, if you can call it. It's still hard, but it's social exercise.
Very nice. And I would assume that the whole place is kitted out with fiber.
Yes.
That's like the make or break these days. Like, you could be in Timbuktu, but if you have fiber, you're in heaven. Like, you can have your cake and eat it. If you have no fiber internet, then you could be in heaven. You have nothing. Okay, we're in Bloberg and right by the kite surfing beach, and we have fiber, and so we have everything. Okay.
But you know what really felt like heaven to me is I spent 2 weeks on the farm now,
And the peace and quiet with no
there's
fiber.
certain places where there isn't even cell phone reception at
Sure.
all. So
Sure.
that felt like heaven as well for a while.
Of course. Different versions. Fair enough. Okay, that's version 5.0. I'm talking about version 2.0 of heaven. Okay. And one of our last points is, please tell me why you are unstoppable.
I think, as I said earlier, the maximum growth happens at the border of support and challenge. So we're constantly challenging ourselves, but I'm so grateful for my support system, my wife, my sister, my family. Everyone is always there to support me. Um, and I have big dreams. Um, and I think I have the tools to achieve them. I just need some time. That's all. I'm busy implementing every single day. I'm working towards specific goals, and I think because it's a very methodical, disciplined approach with a support system, my probability of achieving these goals are higher than they would have been 10 years earlier before I had those tools. I know it's a very engineering answer, but that's how my brain works.
Very nice. Very nice. I think a support structure is lovely. What surprised me in my business, even though we formed an organized collaborative of a consortium of people that work together, over the years I always needed to do it myself. And what surprised me, I wasn't even expecting it, was I didn't realize how amazing actuaries actually are the secret sauce to the whole business. I thought I was going to be the secret sauce, but the reality is I didn't realize how bringing people into the business who are there to support and lift and carry actually is everything. It was a nice surprise. And so I agree. I think support is lovely. Um, and hopefully as we grow, we'll all be able to grow together. So I look forward to. I always love your posts on LinkedIn. That's where we met, and it's inspirational. It's thought provoking. It's top. I love answering because it's just thought provoking, and I just think, this is nice, And then I try and give my answer, whatever. It's fun. There's no right or wrong. So I always enjoy engaging with you, so I look forward to engaging more.
I really appreciate that, and thanks so much.
Very good. Daniel, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Cheerio. Bye.